I've always said that we need to transition from being the world police to being the world gun store.
Do we want to be the world's gun store?
I think so. I think we have to.
Says the guy who sells weapons.
He sold his first company for $2 billion at 21, got fired by Zuckerberg, then quietly built something that just landed a $20 billion contract from the US Army. This is Anduril Industries, and this is the story they don't want you to know. Palmer Luckey sold Oculus to Facebook for $2 billion at age 21. Then he donated $9,000 to the wrong political meme account, and Facebook fired him. He walked out with hundreds of millions in the bank and started a defense company. In the one industry Silicon Valley had spent a decade refusing to touch. He called it Anduril. The people who laughed just watched it hit $61 billion.
How did you land on the first product?
So first product we worked on was what we call Sentry. It's for border security. And this was a Palmer idea. He believed that tech could actually solve this. So we have these automated cameras with radars. We can monitor the border for miles away from these cameras. And he was like, this is something we could solve super fast with technology. And it really kind of hit what has ended up being a very good pattern for us is find an urgent problem that actually has a real tech solution that we can apply kind of the cutting edge technologies to. So we, early on, it was 2017, computer vision was just starting to work. It wasn't even really embedded GPUs yet. We were literally taking desktop GPUs and liquid cooling them to get these things to work in a hot desert under solar power. But we were able to go and get a prototype up in about 3 months and then move into like a pilot in about 6 months and then full scale in about 2.5 years. So really, really quick timeline. But
border cameras were their proof of concept. 3 months to a prototype, 2.5 years to full deployment at scale. That speed became Anduril's entire competitive advantage, and they applied it to things that make border sensors look like a science fair project. Autonomous fighter jets, drone interceptors, an AI battlefield operating system, the Army, the Navy, NATO, all of it built in 8 years.
Product is, so let's start with that. What's your favorite product?
Right now, I am probably most excited about the autonomous fighter jet because it is pretty wild, pretty first of its class, and it's just like a big plane. Like airplanes are cool. But my opinion will probably change in about like 4 weeks because we got a lot of really cool stuff going on.
And so I want to talk about the current state of Anduril's business. You've scaled a lot, so could we put some numbers behind that? What is the growth of Anduril?
Yeah, so we're 8 years-ish in. We're at about 7,000 employees. We have consistently doubled revenue like every year, right? So even like over $1 billion, we're still doubling revenue. And so we have just massively ramped on the top line, number of employees, and then the number of products we've been able to field is just pretty unsurpassed. I mean, I think we're in just dozens of different fielded products, depending on how you count it, configurations, whatever else.
7,000 employees, revenue doubling past $1 billion, an autonomous fighter jet that does not exist anywhere else on Earth. All of that built by a company that Silicon Valley refused to take seriously. Because here is the thing nobody talks about. When Anduril started, working in defense was the most uncool thing you could do in tech. And Palmer did not care even slightly.
Building is a 200,000 square foot building, 50-foot clear high ceilings here. We have a machine shop, we have a composites lab, we have a development and test lab, all of these different environments where we can prototype things quickly, test them quickly, find the fractures, find where they break to get products built and shipped faster.
Thinking back to when we started Anduril in 2017 as kind of the pariah of Silicon Valley. It was not something people were doing, it was incredibly unpopular. And now all of a sudden, it's a much cooler place than most places in Silicon Valley. When we started the company, the idea was, how do you build, an Apple for defense rather than the traditional model?
With Anduril, we are constantly inventing new products. We're moving into like totally gnarly, hard political and geopolitical questions, and like how do we thread these, different strategies? And that just requires constant creativity.
Build an Apple for defense. That was the entire pitch. Google canceled Project Maven. Employees staged walkouts. The smartest engineers in the country were lining up to sign anti-war pledges. And Palmer was sitting in a warehouse in Orange County building drone interceptors. What flipped the script was not a PR campaign. It was $20 billion from the U.S. Army. Money talks louder than ideology, and the conversation in Silicon Valley changed overnight.
If Bernie were to win, I think you'd actually see a lot of these. I don't think they would like jump back
Or
to
choose
the left.
AOC. I mean,
Or
really.
AOC. I think you would actually see a lot of them say, we are going to remain an apolitical organization that works with whoever is in power. And people have mistaken working with who's in power with deep support for Donald Trump. I don't think many of these executives are actually deeply supportive of Donald Trump, but they realize he's the president of the United States. People voted for him. And the House did, the Republicans did pretty well too. You can't just write that off as this,
And also, it's not as if he doesn't take vengeance on his enemies in the private sector, so.
Look, that certainly helps.
That is the honest version of a conversation nobody else wants to have on camera. The relationship between Silicon Valley and Washington is not ideological, it is operational. You work with whoever is running the country, and you build companies that can survive whoever comes next. Andrew said that out loud before anyone else did. The $20 billion Army contract is the receipt. The era of tech pretending it has nothing to do with power is over. Palmer Luckey got fired by one of the most powerful companies in the world for a $9,000 political donation. He took that moment and turned it into a $61 billion defense empire that is actively reshaping how America fights wars. Andrew is not a story about weapons. It is a story about what happens when someone with nothing left to lose decides to build the thing everyone else was too afraid to touch. Subscribe if you want more companies like this. Drop a comment on which company we should cover next.